Gilbert S with the Unnamed Game Co.
This is Jordan T with Zone Fighter Games.
And this
And
is Doug W. joining y'all.
excited to have another person in here.
It's wonderful. So I bet the folks at home are wondering why we have this weird setup today. Well, if you kind of noticed, I'm GMing today. I am GMing Troika, that game I won't shut up about.
Yes, we finally gave into what Jordan wanted and decided to just run our first AP as Troika, because when you're running your own channel thing, you should just do things you love, not necessarily things that will pander to the masses. We will pander to the masses later, though.
This is true. So we kind of did this as a little bit of spur of the moment thing, and as you all know, faithful viewers and that dog, scheduling is the enemy of playing silly dice games with your friends. But I think we're going to have a lot of fun today.
I think so too.
Doug,
I'm excited.
Why don't you tell us about yourself, Doug?
Yeah, so not a long-time listener or watcher. I apologize for that. But joining you from across the internet, I've been an avid gamer since I was the young child. I think the first RPG I played was 7th C. Back in the old first edition of that. Also some Iron Kingdoms when that was a 3.5 system. Lately been getting into OSR and run a rotating game with some friends. Been reading up on Troika, also jamming. Participating in Troika City Jam a little bit. We'll see what gets done with that, but trying to help out with that.
That's right. They are running the jam right now. I thought I was in a good position to participate in a jam, but religious listeners will know that that's not in the cards for me at the moment, because I have to focus my attention elsewhere. But today, I am going to be running them through a wonderful thing that I've called the 13th Tower. This was based off of a silly idea Gilbert came up with, where it was all of the 13th floors from around the universe sometimes just go missing, and they like to end up in places, and you'll find out more of that as we go. So, I don't know about you guys, but do we have anything else we want to go over before we start?
Do we have to discuss safety, Jordan? I think that's something that we always should try to talk about.
Safety
Goodness
is
gracious,
important.
you're right, Gilbert. Look at me, being a buffoon. Now,
granted, we may have talked about this before we jumped on here, but just because we do good housekeeping and we want to show the right way of doing things, not necessarily the
right.
Jordan way of doing things. I mean,
no, don't do that. So typically, I like to run a kind of PG-13 plus style game. Keep your cursing sincere. You know, if you make a bad roll, we don't care. Go, shit. Like, you made a bad roll, fine. There's no expectation of, like, grimdark hyperviolence or wildly inappropriate stuff that's going to happen. I'm always willing to furnish the X card. We are in a big chat, so if at any time for whatever reason you're like, oh no, I don't like that, just go ahead and hit an X in chat. I'll notice, and we'll come to a complete stop and move the hell on.
Sounds great.
Yep. Anything else specifically I should avoid, or do you feel might be a problem if it comes up? Okay.
just want to say I love you, Jordan. Thank you for GMing. Sorry if I become a pain in your ass today.
Listen, I'm going to let you guys pretty much do whatever you want, but by extension, I'm going to do whatever I want to you guys. All right. Today we are playing with the Acid Death Fantasy setting. This is basically just kind of a parody of all those cool little desert fantasies throughout media, pop culture. It pokes a lot of fun at Dune.
But you have to.
Yeah, you kind of have to. Everything is like, oh, there's spice in the desert. Why? Who cares? So we're gonna go ahead and just kind of jump right into it. This is the city of the Thousand Sultanates. Each little area to a whole block to even whole districts are ruled by one, two, or even several crowned kings, and all of them like to think they're in charge with any number of supports, resources, and just look at me, I'm a big shot type stuff. What none of them realize is that none of them are really actually in charge. There is the Faceless Queen who rules over the entire city from the shadows, and that's the way she likes it. This is a rumor she has spread herself to kind of give a little bit of plausible deniability, so that folks will think she's just a rumor or a fairy tale. She literally likes it. If it's 100% true, because what's stranger than fiction? Reality. So we open our story just outside the Grill House. This is the home base of the Society of the Fellows of Sublime Beefsteaks. This is a robust and wonderful group of men and several trans men and people who generally just like to be jacked as hell. They exercise, they work out, they have friendly brawls, and they enjoy cooking meat. Now then, Chad, please introduce yourself.
All right. So I am Chad, full name, Chad Arnoldson. I'm a member of this magnificent order who believes that the application of physical force in the right way and well-cooked meat is probably the best solution to any problem you might encounter. Chad knows Tip from back in the old days. We knew each other. We grew up in the same neighborhood. And Chad is on a quest to study all of the various cooking techniques across the sultanates. He's come by Golden Barge from Troika to this orb and is trying to increase his knowledge of exotic cuisines.
Gilbert, please tell us a little bit about Tip.
My character is Tipton Ogrefall. They call me Tip. I am a wizard. I went to school at a very prestigious college for magic. I learned a lot of theoretical stuff. A lot of it, has no point. Things are very different in the real world. Because of my degree, I really can't get a normal job anywhere. I mean, I can do magic, but can't get a job. I'm deep in student loan debts and life sucks. But luckily, my good friend Chad from in the old neighborhood feeds me on occasion because otherwise he's starving.
It's got a little real for me. So it's almost a typical day here in the Sultanates. I say almost because every now and again, a strange storm likes to blow through. A very strange storm that typically changes the landscape in ways people try to predict. There's always a betting game or two in the back roads and the back alleys of what weird thing is going to fall out of the sky into the desert. You haven't heard what it is yet, but something is definitely causing a little bit of a stir. However, the only other thing you guys seem to be interested in recently is some sort of odd food cart that has taken up a popular residence in the Quilted Bazaar. This is a section of the Sultanates that is, from above, looking at it from the barges, it looks like a giant quilted blanket, all kinds of colors and designs and patterns and all kinds of strange ephemera, just as one giant blanket, and it's beautiful, if a bit of an eyesore, in a ridiculous amount of ways. One of these sections, which is kind of in a more yellowish orangish area of the quilt is food stalls. And one of these stalls, I should say truck, it's a big mechanical vehicle with a bunch of small seats around it, has been kind of rocking the local food scene. Chad, you actually were out and about while a member from Off-World showed up, called themselves Kobe. They had come and got a little bit of local flavor to add to their truck. This, of course, resulted in the typical useless, I should say, festivities of slapping each other silly and wrestling and roughhousing and trading of secrets. You haven't gotten a chance to talk to this person yet, but the other members of the grill house, knowing that this is a thing you're interested in, have pointed you in this direction.
Excellent. Well, when I finish my grilling for the day, because that's what Chad's been doing, is kind of setting up on street corners and with his small gridiron, grilling and selling some meat to make a little bit of money to fund this expedition across the humpbacked skies. I will head off and I'll grab Tip, because Tip's been traveling with me, and be like, Tip, we have meats to consume.
Do you think they have a job over there for me?
I do not know.
Should I bring my
We can take your resumes.
I start putting the papers into the bag that I carry of just all of my resumes.
Mm-hmm. Brilliant.
Ready to go.
As you wander through the zigs and the zags and the ups and the downs of the Quilted Bazaar, you notice a slew of people in dark fitted suits. This is a little unusual in the Sultanates, as people like this generally find themselves dashing between shade and shade. They all seem to be wearing some sort of face covering, either a mask, dark glasses, some sort of crazy hood, but they seem to be trying to kind of get people's attentions for some kind of various jobs. This is not unheard of for people to look for jobs after these kind of large storms have passed through, but this specific kind of design and pattern of suit is a little odd for you guys. Do you keep moving forward towards the food truck?
Yeah, Chad does not need a job. Chad will continue toward the food truck.
I grab Chad by the sleeve and go, Chad, job.
Can you throw them resumes as we walk through? Is that how those work?
I don't know. Clearly, the way I've been doing it hasn't been working. Maybe I should just do it your way.
I've heard from people that you throw resumes, as many as you can.
Okay, we'll do it this way. I don't know. Okay, let's do it. I start to like toss resumes in the air from my bag.
All right. One or two of the of these black clothed, like nice press suits, tie, white shirt, one with an owl mask, one with a like a lizard mask, kind of notice. Pick one or two of them up and they start chatting. They generally fold them up and kind of put them in their coats as they go back to the crowd at large.
What do you think, Tip?
I don't know. We'll see, I guess. Yeah, we'll see.
So you move continuously, I'd imagine, through the crowd towards this truck. As you get closer, you kind of hear more and more people talking about it, like, oh, it's so strange the way they serve food, and like, oh, the ridiculousness of the name. You keep hearing letters like B, M, S, and D keep throwing around, like, what? And as you approach the truck, you realize it is gaudily colored. It is this bright green, orange flowers, and big on the side, it just says BDSM. And there appears to be some sort of mechanical person inside the truck handing out paddles of food. like charcuterie boards just being handed out. The smell is wonderful. Everything from fish to meats to even some vegetarian options. You don't understand where they're getting the drinks from, but people seem to be delighted with whatever they're getting.
Hey, Chad, did you spot me?
Oh, of course.
So you walk up and you see the placard on the side of the window. It gives you three options. There's the first one, which is the shark coochie board, which is it's a fish one. Punishments, which is a kind of spicy meat based. I'm trying to remember. This is actually from my home game. I apologize, and I'm trying to remember the literal menu they wrote. One is it's just a veggie. It's just veggie. I can't remember the names. I'm sorry, guys. You're gonna watch this and you're gonna be mad at me. One is just seems to be vegetarian based, which seems to have a little bit more care placed into it. And then at the bottom, it just says all drinks available on tap.
Well, Chad will spend all of 0.1 seconds looking at it and just say, meat!
The mechanical life form with a little label that just says DFA on the front goes, absolutely. And he turns mechanically and just kind of crab walks with his legs in one side inside. And you just hear kind of a little bit of rumbling. And you see a woman made out of wraps of paper run by as another member of the Sublime Society with the typical big, beautiful mustache, shirtlessness, and the waistcoat just kind of dashing through. They seem to be running back and forth. There is a woman with a door situated right in the middle of her forehead, prepping cream puffs. The smell is wonderful. And after about a minute or so, your order comes right out. And as they hand it to you, they look at you. Would you like a drink with that?
No.
No drink. How about for you, fella?
I look at Chad, and I'm like waiting for him to say yes or no.
What? Tip or eat.
Okay, no drink then.
You have a drink if you want. I have fancy wine.
I don't want to. I don't want to impose. I mean, I don't know when I can pay you back.
It is no imposition, Tip.
Oh. Okay, I'll have a drink. Something cheap.
It's not really how it works here, sir. It's a kind of a one size fits all, and if you'll come around, we'll fill you right up.
I think okay, I go.
So you kind of come around to the side, and there's a big, it looks like a big aluminum box, with some sort of like an umbilicus in the middle of it, so these two halves can kind of like rock back and forth separate of each other. And as you approach, right in the middle is a glass plate, and you almost kind of understand that there's like a face to it, like there's some kind of entity in there. And just above the glass, it just says, place hand on glass and think of your drink.
I do so, and I put my hand there, and I think of like water.
Is there a job drink, Tip?
I think of water, because I think that's the cheapest thing I can come up with.
So as you think of water, this kind of bright cherry red tendril of fluid comes out of the spigot on the front and kind of works its way over to your cup, and it stops just above it, and fresh, clean water pours out of the tendril into your cup. And as soon as it's filled up, it comes right back into the cage, into the canister.
I don't know if I should drink this. I take the cup and I walk back to Chad.
As you walk away, you get this. You get a kind of feeling in the back of your head, like you're being thanked for placing an order.
You're welcome.
You hear a kind of high-pitched fizz noise come from the machine. So after getting set back about six silver in total for the entire meal,
I record that in my ledger of all the debts I have. I just it's just filled with people I owe money to that I'm like, I someday will pay back, I swear.
This is a dark mirror for me.
Chad's like, no. Look, tip. You can have the tips I made today. That will cover it.
No, Chad. I insist I will pay you back when I have a job. Look, I still owe you from like 3 months ago, and from 2 months before that, and a month before that, and then I also have been accruing all the times that you've fed me with your your cooking. So I mean,
Yes, but every time it rains, you stop the rain, so we're good. I can't sell meat if it's raining. That might be a problem here, though, now that I think about it.
yeah.
So you some time passes as you sit back and enjoy and regale each other with silly stories for the day, and how Tip has not gotten yet another callback, and how you've been exposed to yet another spice from off-world, and all of the ideas it plumps into your head. As it kind of winds down, you see the staff begin to kind of fold up the chairs and pack everything away, as one of those nice dark suits kind of strolls over to you as you sit at your table. And he kind of waits for a lull in the conversation before he asks, "Hello, my name is Mr. Liason. I work with one of the local sultans. I was wondering if you would care to partake in a bit of an expedition."
A job?
An expedition.
Does it pay?
Yes, quite well, in fact.
Will you be one of my references if you succeed? If we succeed?
I can. In fact, I can almost guarantee you a letter of recommendation from anyone in the Sultanates.
I grab onto like Chad's
And this is not just
sleeve
exposure, right?
or clothes.
No.
And I'm like, I'm like white gripping your your like one of your like a part of your clothing, like so excited, like I'm visibly shaking.
No, in fact, he hands you both a gold piece, which, as Troika is on the silver, is on sterling. A single piece of gold is actually worth quite a bit of money for both of you. And he hands you both that, and he's like, "That and more, I can promise you. I am actually quite well bankrolled by my employer."
I take a bite of the gold piece.
It's real.
That's not food, Tip.
It's real. Can we please, Chad?
What does this job entail?
Well, as you're both appear to be more local than I, you would have noticed that every now and again some storms roll in, and every now and again these storms like to bring great changes upon the landscape of the desert. One of these changes was quickly infested by a very specific life form, and my employer is specifically looking for something from this life form, and he's willing to pay big to get it.
Continue explaining the situation with the thing from the life form.
Within the desert, as I'm sure you're aware, there is a large creature called a rock. We've never seen one move this quickly to nest, I should say, on top of a structure like this. We feel speed is of the essence in this situation, so we need to go in, ascend the structure, acquire one of these eggs, and get back here safely, if at all possible, without damaging the egg.
Sure.
This is something you've heard of, like, before. Like, every now and again a sultan will just try to, like, "I want a rock egg," and people get sent out and usually come back with like by the time we got there, the damn thing hatched.
Yeah.
Or ran off or attacked by any number of things throughout the desert. So the fact that one is nesting this close is kind of a big deal, on top of the fact that people also don't take this and believe it, but this guy seems legit. If you want to believe him.
It's a job, so yes. I'm in if Chad's in. I give a pouty face.
How long is this expedition? How much meat will we miss out on cooking?
It is about a day or so outside of the city proper. But again, I could assure you, any amount of money you're missing out on, you will make up several times over.
My eyes widen and I get even more pouty.
Very well, Tip. We will go fetch these eggs.
I open my I walk around with the briefcase. I open my briefcase and I put on a tie, and I close the briefcase and I said, "I'm ready to work."
Delightful. And just as a kind of professional courtesy, he hands you both his business card, and on it, it just simply states, Mr. Liason, freelance contractor.
Thank you.
And on that note, he begins kind of ushering you into the greater part of the quilted bazaar and asks, "Is there anything you need before we go? My employer is, as I stated before, quite well off and is willing to bankroll our expedition."
Anything.
Weapons, guns, supplies.
Chad has pulled out a shopping list of various meats that we should take to grill along the way and make sure that we are well fed during the expedition.
All right.
They also happen to be ones that he's not been able to get a hold of yet.
He kind of sees that list and he looks at it and he's like, I mean, if they're in stock, we'll definitely do our best. Like I said, my employer is quite well off.
So obviously we wouldn't delay for these, but
of course, again, any weapons, materials, anything like that, now's the time.
Chad pulls out his axe that he carries with him, and he's like, "Oh, I'm good."
Okay.
Tip puts up his fingers and goes, "Pew pew."
Absolutely, and he ushers you to a kind of dark blue section of the bazaar. And there's about 3 different ones in front of you, 3 different stalls, I should say. And each stall seems to have a kind of diminutive, blocky looking, almost looks like this creature was put together poorly, entity with several forms of firearms in front of him. A standardized human with pointy ears. It's kind of hard to tell, but they are like a forest green, but the blue shining, the light shining through the blue canopy distorts their color even further. And then that last one is some sort of bandaged individual who looks a little shaky, but they all seem to be selling various kinds of designs and forms of firearms. Is there anything specific you're looking for, my good sir Tip?
Oh no. I don't need a gun. My fingers go pew 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 pew.
Ah, I see. Magic. I apologize. If you'll excuse me then. He walks over to the poorly cobbled together gentleman and kind of raises 2 fingers and then holds up some sort of signia and he hands him 2 little canisters with this kind of blue swirling mist inside, and he opens up his jacket to reveal he is already armed, and he kind of places them inside the jacket so they're kind of nice and snug and well carried in there, and he just kind of buttons it back up. And you see him produce a hat from seemingly nowhere. It's kind of wide brimmed, protecting from the sun. Again, dark colors. Places it on his head, and simply says, "All right, we'll head to the east end, and we'll begin moving into the greater desert."
Chad will follow along. He's here for tip.
Okay.
Chad, does my tie look okay?
Yes, Tip. I think you tied it correctly.
It's a clip-on.
Oh, then it is not correct.
Oh.
Here. Chad buys a tie on the way out and shows Tip how to properly tie it.
All right. As you go to buy the tie and you reach for money, the Mr. Liaison pulls out that kind of funny bronze insignia again, and he just kind of flashes it, and they go, "Ah," and they just simply hands it to you. He kind of stuffs it back in his jacket. As you begin kind of working your way through the bazaar, you kind of get back into the city proper with the kind of structures and silly towers and some of these sand choked houses that just aren't occupied anymore. Some of them run down. As you get further and further out, they become more and more dilapidated. On the edge of the town is a kind of rent an animal. They have everything from horses to camels to strange bird creatures. There even is this kind of funny looking device that they mentioned. If you can get it to work, it's yours. But it looks like it's just missing too many parts. They treat it as an eyesore. In fact, there's like a bucket kind of tied to it that has a foul smell coming from it. But most of it just seems a little rusted out, kind of a shell of whatever it was supposed to be.
I tried to ascertain the broken thing.
I mean, it's been here for nigh on 20 years. It made a foul noise when it first showed up. Some fool was on it, but he came, kind of tied it up out here, and he just ain't been back. I don't know. I just kind of leave it here. We hang signs off it from now and again. I mean, as you can kind of tell, we just kind of leave the poop bucket on it. I mean, I don't know where that fellow went, but something tells me he ain't coming back, and the desert scooped him right up.
I'm curious as if this thing is magic, so I want to use my second sight.
Go ahead and roll me your second sight.
I rolled a 7. So I have to roll at or below, right?
You have to roll at or below, yes.
Yes. It's a 7 for second sight. I rolled a 7. Wait, do I roll 2d6s? Or just one?
Yeah, you roll 2d6 and you want to roll under because we're not in combat.
Oh yeah, I rolled a 7 and I have to roll a 7.
Yes. So I'm a big fan of meeting and beating. So at 7, I will give it to you. Almost like when you leave like pasta sauce in like a Tupperware, there's that ring on the edge. That's about what's left of magic. And even then, it's from what appears to have been some kind of power source or fuel tank, but it's long gone.
I'd like to see if I could throw some magic into it.
I mean, sure, but again, like this thing's missing parts. Whatever it needs to run has been kind of stripped. I'm not even sure it'll work.
Is that what the guy says to me?
Yeah. Yeah, this kind of funny looking sun-baked animal renter.
Tip can't, even if he knows that all this is paid for, he can't accept going for anything expensive and must try to find the cheapest way possible for everything. So he attempts to channel magic into the machine, hoping even a blustered up machine can be something that he can use.
All right, so this is a fun house rule a lot of folks like to use for Troika. Um, we're gonna call this Arcana. You're gonna go ahead and just roll straight skill. Just roll under 6. And if you succeed, I'm gonna give you Arcana at 1, meaning you get a whole new skill for shiny and free. And I will do this for anyone and everyone I ever play this game with.
Roll the 5.
All right, so go ahead and just make a notation down that you now have the new skill of Arcana. You put some energy into it. That little canister fills just a little bit. You kind of hit the start button, thinking sure, because it's pretty clearly labeled. You hear something click, immediately followed by nothing. And you go to check that little canister of energy, and it is plumb empty.
Do I take any, what do you call that?
Stamina damage? No.
Stamina damage for this?
You do not.
Okay.
I'm not gonna damage you for that.
We'll take the horse.
Of course it is. And he kind of points to the other 2 members of the party. Chad, are you a person looking to rent a horse, or are you partial to something else?
What else do you ride?
Well, we got camels, and we got these funny looking little bird fellas. They're some kind of like larger chicken creature. They're sturdy enough to ride, but they definitely are like seem to be more finicky and not as intelligent.
Horses seem like a good idea.
Horses it is. Again, Mr. Liason walks up, kind of flashes that funny little signet, and he just goes and scoops up all 3 horses and pulls out a kind of like a printed map, like someone kind of took a picture and kind of points you both that, well, we're gonna head kind of northwest, and points at like, it looks like a big kind of like black crystal just kind of out in the desert from zoomed out, and he just goes, all right, it looks to be about a day or so's ride. Let's head out. So the desert heat beats down on you, and that ride is quiet. There's no wind, there's just sun, there's no clouds in the sky. What do y'all try to do to pass the time?
I talk to the horse.
What do you say to this horse?
Or I tell the horse the story of my life. And just the whole ride, just chatting away with the horse about how all the little side jobs that I almost had, all the interviews, and how I was lied to about how college was going to change my life.
I want okay. Chad, I want you to go ahead and roll me a skill check real quick.
Okay.
Just
general skill.
Just general skill.
No, if it's roll under, I failed. I got a 8 and my skill 6.
All right. So as you make your way through that hot desert day, you realize it's a little bit drier than normal. It's about time to kind of take that drink. And just out of the corner of your eye, you notice some kind of little, it looks like a starfish, kind of quick, like wiggle back and forth and kind of dig itself further into the sand. This whatever kind of creature that was didn't seem too keen on having a fight at the moment.
Did it look tasty?
You roll me grilling.
Okay.
Roll me grill.
I got a 6 out of 7.
So you rolled.
I rolled a
six?
6 and I have
Yeah,
a 7.
okay. It's a real dry meat. Whatever you were gonna get out of it, it was at least like a 4-day preparation.
Ooh, no. I will just leave that alone.
Yeah.
Does not seem like a good.
So the move carries on as you begin crumbling through the desert slowly but surely. The horses seem pretty used to this heat. Mr. Liaison seems unmoved by the weather, despite the fact that he's wearing black. He actually has undone a single button, and he makes mention of it's quite dry out, and that's the only thing he has said to you for hours.
That's why you should wear wizard robes. Nice and breezy.
Actually kind of want to retcon something real quick. Chad, you mentioned you had a small list of things that you were looking to get. How many things were on that list?
There was 7.
7. You managed to find all but one of them. I'm going to go ahead and let dealer's choice pick which one of those things you didn't find.
Okay, so we couldn't find a true meat cube, which is from the orb that is just meat. It is like the
planet of meat,
the ultimate thing. Like they're the entire orb just meat, and it's one of the hardest places to get to on the golden barges. It's not great to be there, as you might imagine, but it's supposed to be some of the tastiest.
I don't know what's worse, the implication that it's either very alive or it's just a planet made out of it's just made out of like non-living, like unperished meat.
Yeah, Chad's not sure. He's never been, so he's not sure which is worse either.
Hey kids, if you're wondering what kind of a game Troika is, just remember Troika technically doesn't exist until it collides headfirst with your imagination. I love this game. So as it again, we find ourselves stuck in the middle of nowhere again. As we keep moving forward, there's kind of you kind of in the far distance, you see a beautiful oasis as it waves in the heat. It looks like it's got water, and it looks like it's got trees, and maybe even a rock for some shade.
Chad will point it out and be like, we should stop here, grill some stuff, replenish our fluids, and move on.
I look at Mr. Liaison.
Tad hungry? And as you all start moving towards it, and as you get closer and closer to this, what must be wonderful water, just to kind of get the nice scraped amount of water you have back into your canteens, you kind of realize that's a real funny looking tree. Immediately followed by a low rumble as the sand begins to quake and that tree begins to rock back and forth like an odd tendril as that water just immediately evaporates and it's replaced with this awful maw as it snaps shut and begins heading your way. We are going to roll initiative. So,
and by roll we mean not roll.
This is true. Initiative is a very, very peculiar thing in Troika. This was actually something I wanted to do first. Gil and Doug, I want you both to roll just 1d6, and I want you to tell me who's higher, and that'll determine who is the number 1 slot.
I got a 4.
All right. So, Doug, I want you to go ahead and put down that you are and ace on yours. And Gil, I want you to go ahead and roll your number 2. So whenever your card comes up, you will be there in the initiative. And the Oasis Angler has 1 in the initiative. So every player, I should say, gets 2 cards in the initiative. And it tells you the initiative, kind of the amount of initiative tracks you get for creatures. So this angler is going to have 1. I like to use cards. They tell you to use a bag. Also in here is a fun little thing that tells you when to end the round. So with that, Doug, you may make your first move. This creature is heading right towards you. You are on horseback, and it looks hungry.
Okay, I will jump off the horse, throw my knife into the sand, and prepare to wrestle it.
All right. You are spending your action to get ready to scrap.
Yeah.
Okay. It's a good distance away, so you've got like a little bit. Gil, you are up. What is your move?
I point at it, and I go pew.
All right.
I zap it.
Okay. You zap it with, I'm assuming this, because I have your character, your jolt spell. All right.
Yep.
You're gonna go ahead and roll to hit with jolt, which is you roll your 2d6 and add your skill and the rank with it, and you're gonna want to be higher than what I roll. Ooh.
So this plus my skill, which is 6, so that would be, I have 15, and
Really, 15? I rolled a 13. No. Math is hard, kids. Stay in school. 12. Yeah. He also rolled a 15 as well. But tie always goes to the runner. So Gil, I want you to go ahead and roll me damage.
Okay. How does the damage work?
So in Troika, if you look at the PDF and open up the core book, it should be the second page at the bottom.
Yeah, but doesn't Jolt have a different damage rating thing? It does.
It does, yeah. So if you scroll to the second page.
Damage roll. Do I roll? So what do I roll for damage? Just.
You would roll 1d6.
1d6. Gotcha.
And then depending on that is how much damage it takes.
3 points of damage.
3 points of damage. You manage to collide your spell with his little kind of dealy bob hanging out of the sand as it rocks back and forth. You see this kind of bright flash underneath the sand as it rocks.
Sorry, Jordan. 2 points of damage.
2 points of damage. All right. As it kind of rocks back and forth. It is not happy as it proceeds to kind of spin in a circle for a little bit as it resumes its kind of motion towards you. Gil, it is your turn again.
I have the finger out already, and then I go the other finger out, and I go pew.
All right. Go ahead.
$10.
You beat him by 1. Go ahead and roll me damage.
3 points of damage.
3 points of damage.
Jolt ignores armor too, by the way.
Ooh, good thing. Oh, I forgot to count that in, but that's a good thing Jolt ignores armor because I'm ridiculous. Alrighty. Where is it? There it is. All right. Cool. All right. So that's your second turn. Ooh, that's the end of the round. All right. Mr. Liaison is going to make his move as he pulls out his gun, and he takes deft aim, as deftly as one can manage in this heat, and he's going to go ahead and shoot. What did I give him? Marksmanship. That's 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's 10 to hit, and tie goes to the runner. So he makes contact with his shot, and that's another 4 damage this thing takes. It doesn't seem too jazzed about this. And last card. Yeah, Chad, you're up.
Cool. Chad will run at it and wrestle it.
All right. As you run and you jump as it goes to take kind of a bite and it just misses your feet, you grapple.
Grab it by the tendril thing and just try to like yank it.
Roll me wrestling.
13 total.
13 total for wrestling, and it has a. You beat it by 1. Go ahead and roll me damage, which I believe is unarmed because it's wrestling.
Yes.
Yes.
So that is 1 point of damage.
1 point of damage. Whoa. It you kind of pull on it real good. You hear something pop. It doesn't like that, but it seems still pretty nasty on your butt here. Let me do something here. It's gonna. Ooh, it gets a move. So it's gonna go ahead and try to shake you off. It rolled a 7 to shake you off. Go ahead and
Am I
roll
rolling
against.
wrestling again?
I would say yes.
Okay.
That's one of the things I love about this game is if you can convince me why your skill will apply, I'll let you do it.
So 16 total.
Yes. He rolled like a 7. So you still got him. You still got him. Not only that, go ahead and roll damage back at him.
Yeah. 1 more point of damage.
1 more point of damage. Oh, he is. You hear that weird pop noise again. That's the end of the round. That's another fun thing I love about combat in this game is that even if your enemy misses completely, you get to kind of punish them by hitting them back. So you're never not doing something if you're involved somehow. I love it. Chad.
Okay. Chad will once again wrestle this angler and got a 13.
The angler rolled an 8. Go ahead and roll for damage.
1 more point of damage.
Why?
Unarmed is a lot of ones.
Unarmed is a lot of ones. I am at this point, I'm gonna go ahead and roll to see if this thing tries and thinks it's a good idea to run away. Nope. He's still angry and still wants to do stuff. Gil, it is your turn.
I have been sitting on the horsey the whole time I've been doing this, and I slide off down so that like I'm underneath the horse now, and I go pew.
Casting Jolt on him again. All right. Go ahead and roll your 2d6 and add your rank and skill.
10.
10. It actually managed to dodge this time.
And now I'm stuck underneath the horse.
Are you cowering under the horse, or has the horse knocked itself over somehow?
No, I slid like I was sitting on top and I sort of slid
Oh,
down. So now I'm underneath the horse as if I think I'm really cool, but I have no like actual strength to be able to pull myself out of this.
you were doing that cool like Red Dead thing, and it just didn't work.
Yeah, I'm like stuck.
Cool. Chad, it's up to you again. Still hanging on for goodness sakes.
Yep. So we will wrestle once more.
Wrestling. Why?
16.
It rolled a 9 in response.
That's actually more than a point of damage, I think. That is 2 points of damage.
With one last gross pop noise, its little dealy bob off the top of its head comes off, immediately followed by a spray of this gross black ichor that just smells terrible. Immediately, it just flops around as it attempts to surface, and it just kind of digs down and runs off. So there's this kind of gross spot as it sort of sizzles in the midday sand as you have this big angler head on it.
Does it look edible?
Roll me grilling.
17.
You think it could be? It looks a little, it's a little bit of gristle, but you think it could be good sides.
Well, I will take out my axe and start preparing it.
Chad, before you get into cooking, can you like help me? I can't. I'm underneath the horse.
Yep.
Oh, yes. I will go right tip, just kind of grab the straps and just yoink.
As we kind of bend down for our first little bitty break here, I want y'all to go ahead and mark down what skills you succeeded on with. You can mark them multiple times for each one. And when it comes time for us to round this out, we'll go over character growth, which I love. But for now, go ahead and just hang on to that. Just put a little mark on a piece of paper or anything that you have. Just mark what skills you succeeded with.
So wrestling and grilling for me.
Yes. You can also mark them multiple times for each success.
Does that include spells as well?
Yeah, absolutely it does.
Alrighty. Cool.
Any skill at all, spell or weapon, grilling, nonsense, whatever.
So we will be taking our first little break here, and we'll see you in a little bit.
Absolutely.
And we're back! Woo! This is as much energy as I can give you all.
I'm gonna give you twice as much just to be sure.
Well, you're expected to. You're the GM. If you're not more energetic than all of us, then we're in trouble.
That's true. All right, so we're back from a little bit of a break, or this might be the second episode. I don't know how we're gonna edit it. We'll find that out later. So we're gonna go into character advancement. So with Troika doesn't use typical level systems. You just have a list of skills that you get from the core book. As you use them, I mentioned before, you would mark them. So let's kind of go over right now. I believe you have 3 attempts to advance anything. I've house ruled it that you can just sit there like if Chad here succeeded on grilling 3 different times, he could just sit there and spend his 3 chances to just upgrade grilling 3 times. So how this works is that any skill you succeeded on, you are going to attempt to roll over the total. So you add your rank, you add your skill together, and then you have to beat that number. So if I'm guessing right, like say wrestling would be, you'd have to beat 8. So if that's something you'd like to do, let's go ahead and do that now.
Yeah. So I will test wrestling and grilling because those are both ones that I succeeded at.
Yes.
I'll start with grilling, and that is 7 total.
Mhm.
I rolled an 8, so
Your
increase the
grilling now
rank on
goes
that.
up. Yep, goes up from 1 to 2.
Great. And then I'll test wrestling as well. That is an 8. I rolled a 3, so nothing fails.
All right, and you have one more opportunity, I believe.
Cool. I'll do wrestling again because that sounds good.
You did. You made. Yeah, you made.
I wrestled
several,
a lot.
Yeah, you made several successes at wrestling.
Okay, that one was a 10, so that increases rank as well.
All right, now, Gil. Let's go ahead and see what you got.
We get 3 opportunities, right?
I believe it's 3 opportunities total.
Yeah, total.
So yeah, so if you succeeded like on a bunch of stuff, you just have to pick 3 of them.
Yeah, I will do that with the jolt thingy.
Okay.
What do I add? Do I add the skill roll to this thing?
No. So if I'm looking at it right,
you just have to roll straight up better. Okay.
Yeah, you have to
I failed that first one.
Right, so that's your first attempt, lost. So you have 2 more.
I'm going to attempt it again. 8. I got it.
All right, that's 1 success. I also believe you succeeded on second sight. If you'd like to try that.
Yes, I will try second sight as well.
Okay, that's your.
And nope, I did not.
All right, so that's advancement. So I always like to do that narratively, as like in the midst of you using it, you have somehow learned to apply it in a different way or like a smoother way, just to get less in there. It's a fun, cool way to do advancement. I love it. It feels better than just you're now level 5 and you're like, here's a laundry list of things you now have to memorize. And you're like, cool, great. So
makes complete sense to me.
If you find gentlemen or human beings, I never asked, Doug. I apologize for this. Do you have pronouns?
I use he, him pronouns. So.
Excellent. Okay. That's on me. That's another. See, this is some session 0 stuff. It's not okay of me. I have.
It's a good thing that you asked, Jordan.
It's true. I got some.
Important that you ask.
I have some friends in the home game that might get a little upset with me about that later, but that's for me to worry about.
I think they'd also get upset at the fact that you forgot their menu and a lot of other things. So.
That's true.
Some GM.
Terrible. So, we find ourselves back in the battlefield that was this little pocket of the desert. There's lightning, glass, sand kind of jutting out. There's blood kind of splattered over, and the beautiful smell of some kind of sandfish and probably a little bit of beef. What are you spicing? What are you putting on it? If you're a real life griller, it's time to flex.
Oh, I am not, but I will make things up in the name of Troika.
This is true.
So,
all of it's real. You can make up whatever you want, and it's real. Well, welcome to Spelljammer, baby.
So yeah, for dinner that evening, Chad has prepared a nut rubbed meat. He got some chestnuts, has rubbed those on the meat, and then grilled the chestnuts in that meat juice that he extracted into the chestnuts. He's also created some. Well, we're trying this. Chad's not sure how it's going to taste, but he has created some fish jerky out of the angler. He smoked that with some exotic funny wood. It is a tree that when you chop into it, it laughs. It's a very strange profession to be lumberjack in that forest.
That sounds horrifying.
But it creates some very interesting, like as you eat things prepared with this wood, it tends to lead to jolly stories amongst the group. So that's why he smoked the anglerfish with that.
Go ahead and roll me grilling. Just as an overall cooking.
I rolled an 8 and I have an 8. So I don't know if you're rolling under or versus.
We were rolling under because it's just a straight check. So meats, it beats. It turns out wonderfully. Even some of the, and I'm doing this as a little bit from my own personal experience. Maybe Tip is telling just like a real depressing one from his interviews, but for some reason it's hysterical. Maybe just for some reason, and then they told me to get out, and it was but hilarious. Even Mr. Liason is somehow just doing like a slight smirk. So as that wonderful, and you have regained any lost stamina or anything like that, which I believe the only one who lost anything was Tip, because he spent some of it to cast some spells. 2 points, but those are 3 points, but those are back now because Chaz just got that tasty meats. So we resumed the trek into the desert. The midday meal was quite wonderful, despite that belting heat from overhead. And as you crest this ridge that just seemed like it stretched on forever, and as you crest this ridge, that structure that you were shown from before is now full in sight. It is a massive tower, looks to be wrapped in glass and stone and concrete. It looks to be like some of it seems to be from the city of Troika itself, like it was picked just right out and placed here. Some of them look to be made of some materials you're not quite sure what they are. All of it seems to shine in the midday sun. You kind of even remark for a moment as Mr. Liason actually says something again. He says, "It looks like a bunch of different breads from different loaves, as each floor in this building is a different color and different structure from each one. Parts of it kind of stick out from it, and like underneath and wide. It looks like just like a weird mess of a building. It looks like it's kind of tilted just ever so, and on the bottom, one of the windows, even at this distance, you can tell one of the windows, it looks like it's kind of peeled back as if it's sort of warped. But it looks like it's opened outward.
Is this the place?
That it is.
All right.
Well, there's a conveniently open window over here, so I think that's where we should go in.
After you, Chad.
So as you enter, you make your way across that scorching desert sun and enter the building, and it's like a night and day difference, quite literally, as it feels air conditioned. And you've heard of this. You've heard of those funny mechanisms back in Troika that they attach to buildings sometimes to kind of pump cold air in. You're not sure if it was some kind of silly wizard mechanism or some of those strange tinkerers back down in the Undercity are up to, but it seems to be on and active in here. Now, as you kind of gaze out through this whole floor, they seem to be a kind of mix, like these little walls are everywhere. They seem to be this mix of fabric and strips of metal. And each section of this fabric seems to have something kind of like pinned to it. And at the top, it just says urgent or memo. And they seem to have arranged themselves like a lobby, like they would at a hotel. And they seem to be kind of like a welcoming entrance, but there is no one around. And on the far right, you see a sign that just says stairs on a door, and on the other side, you just see two big metal doors with buttons next to them.
Tip walks over to the metal doors with the buttons and presses the buttons.
Do you press both or just the one?
I press both.
You press both. They both light up. And after a briefest of moments, you see a little light at the top. Just go. You hear an awful metallic scraping, followed by a very loud banging as the door opens up. And it is a small chamber with kind of polished metal walls and a handrail.
I stick my head inside and I kind of like look around.
Seems to be nice and empty. There's a kind of a single light in one of these 4 panels on the ceiling, and there's a little panel on the wall that has, it looks like several buttons, but only some of them have wording on them.
I step into the chamber.
Are you in there by yourself?
Yes.
Okay. Nothing happens immediately, but the door begins to start to close. It seems to kind of catch itself, like it's a little bent, but it seems to be closing fine, if slowly.
I'm like, what's going on? Chad, what's going on? And I start to like press buttons.
I will try to jump through the closing doors so Tip is not left alone.
All right.
Or I will wrestle them open.
Go ahead and give me a run skill.
Okay.
It's kind of
8 versus 8, so I matched.
You 100% make it. You just kind of like, as you get through, the door kind of just grazes you, and then it kind of starts popping back open.
Excellent.
You're like, oh, okay, and then the door just kind of starts to sputter close again.
What is this, Tip?
I don't know, but I pressed a bunch of these buttons because I thought that would open it.
It seems fancy, like something they would have at your schools.
As you look around, you notice a little sign just above the panel with all the buttons, and it just says Gnome Tech Elevator Company.
I slide my hand down all of the buttons.
6 of them light up. 1 of them pops out. The rest do nothing.
I try to like open the door then because I'm just like
the door doesn't open, and as you kind of go to force it open, the entire room begins to kind of sputter and move upwards. Again, it kind of it's struggling to do something, and it's like this horrible metallic scraping noise as it rocks back and forth a little bit as it kind of moves up, and it just stops. You hear this delightful, pleasant ding noise as the door opens again, and you are confronted with a hallway of doors. And the actual opening into the hallway doesn't seem to match whatever this mechanism that you're in. Like it's almost too small, but you're able to move through it easily enough.
I jump out of the chamber.
The chamber doesn't do anything.
I'll follow Tip out.
You move through into this hallway. As you stand in this hallway, you see the doors are numbered and have a very kind of they're kind of like a forest green little plaque with a little gold lining on each of them, and it just says 101, 102, 103, and this continues down the hallway. You see that it kind of splits into a T as it goes down and down corners, and then straight ahead as it hits a kind of block in the middle. Some of the lights are flashing and blinking. But otherwise, nothing else seems strange.
I stop at 105. And I knock on the door.
You hear a scratching noise from the other side.
Did you hear that, chat? Hey, where did... What's his name go?
Liason?
Yeah.
You don't
I think
notice.
he stopped liaising.
Yeah, you notice that you kind of hear from the far side. You hear his voice go, "Hello,
Hello?
hello."
We're down here.
You kind of hear footsteps as he turns a corner. His hat is again in his hand as he walks towards you. He goes, "There was a set of stairs they took, but they're kind of jumbled up, almost like puzzle pieces that don't fit. It was a heck of a way up."
I heard a scratching on the other side of this door.
Chad will scratch back.
You hear the indistinct rumbles of some kind of animal, and as you kind of go back and make these noises, you realize that from floor to ceiling, floor to the top of the frame, the door is actually fused shut. Like it's all one solid piece. And as you realize that, you're immediately confronted with a loud banging from inside that room and a none too friendly animal noise.
Tip, I think this is a bad door.
Mr. Liaison, I think this is a bad door.
Gentlemen, I am inclined to agree.
So, should we go back to the little chamber thing, or should we go over to the stairs?
Something tells me we could keep going up via the stairs. They might get a little choppy in the next floor or so, but I think we can make it. I want to check something real quick. And he kind of starts looking at the doors as he kind of moves back towards the stairs, and he notices that one of them isn't fused, and you see him kind of lick his thumb, kind of scrawl out a little rune on it. And he flicks his fingers, and you notice that he's cast some kind of spell on it, and the door just flings open inward. He's like, this one still works. And he goes inside.
Oh, follow him.
Follow after.
This appears to be some kind of apartment that can be easily found within the city of Troika.
Which means it's any apartment.
Yeah, it looks. I mean, there's some kind of like chill box, tables. It doesn't look. If there was a person in here, it doesn't look like they were home. Thankfully, when this happened, there appears to be some kind of chest in the bedroom. But other than that, there doesn't seem to be anything of value.
I open the chest in the bedroom.
Oh boy. Give me just a moment while I roll y'all up something neat.
Did you say meat or neat?
Probably both. We'll find out.
Because it really does make a difference for this group.
I don't know that it does.
It might. Because I've got a funny little deal here that I like to steal. Tip, inside you find a blue silk mask. It covers your whole face, and it has little golden beads lining it.
I wear the mask.
As you wear the mask, and you look at Mr. Liaison, and you say something, Mr. Liaison's voice comes out.
Hey, Chad. It's me, Mr. Liaison. How are you doing today?
Mr. Liaison actually finds this quite charming.
I've got a lot of gold, Chad. and I work for a very powerful man.
Well, that's just plumb funny. And he kind of wanders back to the door of the apartment, and he says, "Well, whenever you're ready, we'll keep going."
I follow after.
Right. He mentions that some of the doors, maybe like this one, that they may be open, and it might do you well to look around, or we could keep moving forward.
I will check the rest of the doors.
All right, go ahead and give me a skill check. If you succeed on this, we'll do search. We'll give you search.
Nope, I got a 7. My skill is 6.
No, all right. Yep. Would you like to perform some kind of search? Would you like to perform some kind of search? Yep.
Me or?
Yes.
Sorry, yeah.
All right. Go ahead and
Actually, no, I don't need to search. I
right.
have my little mask now, and I'm now entertained by this because I.
Okay. Mr. Liason goes ahead and tries to take another look around. He finds one more door opened as on your way back to the stairs. Big cool things to help my players get neat stuff. Ooh. He finds in the room, which again is just another like generically, it looks like it's full of IKEA furniture. If IKEA furniture came in a ridiculous amount of colors, which IKEA, if you're listening, please do that. 30. He comes back out with this kind of large, it looks like an animal claw, but it looks like it's made out of black metal. And he kind of points it at some of the door knockers, and it looks like it's magnetic. The longer you look at it, the more kind of uncomfortable you feel, just because it's just kind of like scarily shaped, but it seems all right.
I do magic sight or second sight on this thing.
The enchantment appears to be magnetic in nature. It looks like it was some kind of sturdy magical conductive metal, and they wanted it to have this kind of property without messing with anything important. So only while you're using it and swinging it around is it magnetic, which is cool and neat. And he mentions maybe I should hang on to this, or maybe give it to you guys if you want it after this. Something like this might be useful in my line of work. But then again, I could just buy it.
Well, I'm good if you keep it.
Mr. Arnoldson.
I do not deal in metals. I deal in meats.
Man who knows what he's about. That's quite all right. And he kind of hangs it from his belt as he's like, all right, back to the stairs.
Back to the stairs.
He finds that hilarious each time. As you enter into the stairwell and you kind of look up, you've been in stairwells before, so you know that it's the easy kind of common, like almost hypnotic pattern of how stairwells work. This is, each one is kind of like offset just a little bit, or it's a different color, or it's like twisted, or just completely like a different shape from the rest of it. It is ridiculous how these things even hoped to have fit together. The fact that a staircase is functioning is a miracle. Would you like to now make the climb up to the 3rd floor?
I make the climb to the 3rd floor.
Yep.
All right. It's a little bit of a struggle as you kind of zigzag and kind of make a little bit of a jump every now and again. They're not wide jumps, just enough to like you can look down and feel your stomach just go whoomp.
Chad, how
But
many floors do you reckon are here?
about 6. I mean, you're a you're a magical fella. You know, 6 is a favorite number of all the weirdness in the universe. It's that comfy, cozy number.
I say we skip to 6.
You want to just kind of keep making that climb?
But what if there's meat to be had on the floors?
Yeah, but we'll start at 6 and then go down to 5 and then to 4 and then to 3. Like, we're not gonna not go there. We're just gonna jump to the top and see what's up there.
As you say that, Mr. Liason points out that the floor that they're currently on is marked as 13th.
I look down and I start counting. We're on the 3rd floor.
Yep. And he kind of looks ahead to see if there's any markings for the next floor. Luckily, the patternings on the next floor seem to be kind of bright and ostentatious. Also says 13.
I say we go to the top 13th floor then. Wait, were we on the 13th floor? Are we all
The 13th floor, you mean?
Yeah, let's go to the 13th floor.
All right, up we go. And as you make the attempt to move past the 13th floor, I want everyone to go ahead and give me a climb check.
Double ones.
Ooh.
Which I think for checks is good and bad for verses.
You're right. This is actually good. So that means you make that one super easy.
I barely made it 6 because I have a
6.
Yep.
And Mr. Liason makes his attempt. He actually rolls his ankle. No, he's gonna roll luck actually to see if he can. No, he jumps forward, goes to his foot starts to slip. He tries to jump his other foot forward, and he kind of falls forward and kind of maybe splits something. It doesn't look pretty, and he has injured himself. He's gonna go ahead and take 4 points of damage. He's not happy with that. But you have managed to work your way up a whole other floor, and you begin examining how the stairs fit again. Something must have gone wrong because normally stairs go up and then loop back around. This one seems to have kind of connected this way, as if the stairs were going up the opposite way. So the stairs kind of just stop by connecting into another set of stairs.
Got a strange switchback situation.
Yeah, you have a strange switchback situation. So unfortunately, it looks like the only next way up is to maybe try seeing if there's an entrance way on the floor.
If only we could buy another ankle.
I mean, I'm a little injured, but I reckon I'm still good in a fight.
I'll look around and see if there's any doors onto this floor.
I summon helping hands to see if the helping hands could throw me up.
They form from an inanimate surface and perform any task the wizard required, but are limited by being rooted to the spot. So you want to make a ladder of...
Yes. How many of those do I need to make? Because that's going to hit my stamina every time.
You could have like the set of hands do the little foothold lift.
I'm gonna go ahead and say it's 1 point of stamina for each set of hands.
Okay, how many hands will I need?
And
now will these also go across America?
There isn't a creature alive with that much stamina.
For some of you older folks, that was a reference for you.
Let's see.
I'm not old enough for that, but I know about it.
To kind of get across, you'd probably need about 6.
6?
6 hands total.
I'm okay with that.
Alright.
It lifts us up.
Kind of just it does one of you do one of these with each one, and it's like all right, cool. Go ahead and give me a climb check, but you're gonna add 3 to whatever you roll, or in this case minus because you want down.
So
Both of
minus
us are
3?
just 10.
Yeah,
6. I barely made it.
you
'Cause
did.
I would have been a 9 otherwise.
Yes, because you were giving yourself a very clear and delineated way to do that. All right, Chad, go ahead and give me the same.
I got double ones again.
And then Mr. Liaison, who will... We're just going to make him flat because he's injured, but he's also getting support from the hands. He makes it. Thank goodness, by exactly 6, which is his skill. So you all kind of work your way back over. You have managed to kind of position yourself in just another way to kind of move past this, which is good because as you climb up these new stairs, you hear the distinct sound of gunfire from the floor below you. And Mr. Liaison mentions that that's probably a good thing we avoided that.
Not me.
Probably pretty good.
Note that we should avoid it again when we go down.
And as you move up to the 13th, the 5th 13th floor, you find yourselves looking through the door, and you see the distinctive look of cooking equipment.
Chad will just open that door and head on through.
Boom! Kind of kick it, and it's one of those awful metal doors with like the little slat where you just like push it in, and it's one of those things. Just click, makes a terrible racket. Nobody responds. There is a big crack in the ceiling. No noise, no nothing. It's quite nice. You're 5 floors up. There's a nice little cross breeze in some of the cracked windows. Canned food along the wall. Cooking equipment.
How large is that crack?
Crack.
How large is the crack on the ceiling? You said on the ceiling or the wall?
It kind of like goes across the ceiling and down the wall, but because the walls are just windows, because this is a 13th floor from a high rise, there's like a big crack in one, and a few of them are actually knocked out. So it's between the cross breeze and the heat, it's actually nice.
I put my hands together and I point towards the sky and I go pew, and I shoot a jolt right at the crack.
Tip, no.
Okay, all right. You have fired. Go ahead and roll me damage.
Just damage. Got it.
Yeah. Roll me damage because it's a wall. It's not gonna do it. It can't react.
1 point of damage.
1 point of damage. It collides with the sheetrock and metal ceiling, and it just kind of scatters against it as it just some of the lights kind of flicker on as there's a charge running through the wiring.
Does it open up a hole?
It doesn't. There is a nice little burned spot on it. You do get the distinct smell of burning grass, though.
Tip, if you collapse the ceiling on us, we will never get to eat the rest of these special meats that I got Mr. Liaison to buy for us.
I don't think that it would completely collapse the ceiling. There's like only 1 floor above us.
As you say.
This does not seem like a structurally sound building.
As both of you are having this conversation, there's like one of the ceiling tiles like gives way and falls out. Nothing comes with it, it just gives out.
See?
Okay, just one more. And then I promise.
No.
One more.
No,
One
there is a
more.
kitchen here. This is clearly a sign.
One, and I blast one out on it, as if I'm pretending it's an accident. Like, oh my god, I can't believe I did this.
Do you get overly eager as feedback on your job interviews?
4 points of damage.
It's like a nice big hole. Again, the lights flicker. Nothing really happens. That smell of burning grass and like plant is around. With that, we're gonna take a brief reprieve here, because it's getting a little close to late, and I'd like to do a tiny bit of postmortem with you folks, if I may. So we're going to go ahead and continue this later, as we wrap up here, as we wind down. I want to get everyone out of here just a little bit early because life happens.
Yeah.
And
we appreciate that.
finds a way. So with the continued nonsense of what's going on here, I kind of asked both of you at the start of this adventure, what was something your character had a goal for? Do you feel those goals have changed?
No, I think Chad's still pretty set on trying to find exotic ingredients and learn different grilling techniques from the salt nuts.
Okay.
I think Tip is still adamant on finding stable employment.
Excellent. If at any time between now and the next time we record, you have any kind of fun little ideas or wacky nonsense you'd like to get up to, do not hesitate to hit me up, and I will fold that into the next step of this adventure. But until then, this has been a blast, I have to say. I'm enjoying this quite a bit. This is 100% the first time I've run this kind of adventure. For people that weren't people I immediately knew. I did steal this from myself and a little bit from the Blank Mange and Thistle. I have I call it the Wizard Tower. It's just in my back pocket, where it's each floor is kind of randomized, and as you attempt to climb the tower, you just get spit out into random floors of a wizard tower, and are dealing with the random nonsense. I'm glad you guys appear to be enjoying it.
Thank you for running it. It's very fun.
Absolutely. And remember, you still have to get the rock down the building and back home safe. Or sorry, the rock egg, I should say. Yeah. So we'll see what happens with that next time.
With that being said, I have been Gilbert S.
I have been Jordan T.
And this has been our friend
Doug W.
And if you like this video, please check out the wonderful links or things down below. And
Doug, is there anywhere we can find you on the internet?
You can find me on Twitter at sebmagi, TSEB_MAGI. I don't really do much social media. You might run into me across various Discords. If you're on the Troika Discord, that's where I found y'all.
Yep. It is a great place and full of wildly interesting ideas.
Yes, TSEB is what I usually go by. So
Gotcha. And remember, follow our new friend Doug there. Check out our links below. And remember, the table is always better with friends.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone.